The screeching alarm clock jolted me awake. It was 6 a.m., the start of another ordinary Tuesday, or so I thought. The sun was annoyingly bright, forcing me to squint. I could smell coffee brewing downstairs, a scent I usually found comforting. I got out of bed, the day stretching ahead like a blank canvas. Little did I know, this canvas was about to be painted with the same brushstrokes again and again. As I went about my morning routine, a creeping sense of unease started to prickle at my skin. It was subtle at first, like a word on the tip of my tongue that I just couldn't quite grasp. I shrugged it off, attributing it to the usual Tuesday blues. But as the day progressed, this unsettling feeling intensified, growing into a nagging suspicion that something was deeply, terribly wrong. The first sign that something was amiss was the news report I always watched while having breakfast. The headlines were identical to yesterday's. I distinctly remembered the anchor's navy blue tie and the way he pronounced controversy with a slight lisp. I brushed it off as a quirk of memory, a trick my mind was playing on me. But when the same song played on the radio during my commute, the one I had consciously decided not to listen to again, a shiver ran down my spine. The day continued in this unsettling echo of the one before. The same conversations, the same traffic jam, even the same off-color joke from a colleague. It was as if someone had hit the rewind button on my life. The initial unease I'd felt morphed into a chilling certainty. I was trapped, reliving the same day. At first, I tried to convince myself it was a vivid dream, or perhaps I was going insane. But as Tuesday bled into Wednesday, then Wednesday into Tuesday again, the truth became inescapable. This wasn't a dream, and I wasn't going crazy. I was caught in a time loop, a prisoner of my own repeating existence. Panic soon set in. I felt like a rat running in circles in a cage, unable to escape. The monotony was unbearable, but it was the fear of the unknown that truly terrified me. Was I destined to relive this day for eternity? What had caused this? And most importantly, how could I break free? The repeating Tuesday wasn't just a mundane loop. It was a day marred by a horrific disaster. A major fire engulfs the city hospital. I remember the gut-wrenching news report, the plume of smoke visible for miles, the wail of sirens echoing through the streets. Each time the loop reset, I woke up with a knot of dread in my stomach, knowing what awaited me. The worst part was the feeling of helplessness. I was forced to watch the tragedy unfold, knowing I couldn't do anything to stop it. The faces of the victims, the frantic cries of first responders, these images were seared into my mind, replaying relentlessly with each cycle. The emotional toll was immense. It felt like being trapped in a nightmare, the same horrifying events playing out again and again. The weight of this endless Tuesday pressed down on me, threatening to crush my spirit. It was a vicious cycle of anticipation, horror, and then the crushing disappointment of waking up back in my bed, the day restarting. Determined to break free, I tried everything I could think of to disrupt the loop. I deviated from my routine, indulging in reckless activities I'd never consider on a normal Tuesday. I confessed my feelings to a coworker, hoping to alter the course of events. I even tried to prevent the fire, but every attempt was futile. Each failure chipped away at my hope, fueling a sense of despair. It was like the universe was mocking my attempts to escape its cruel game. The more I struggled, the tighter the loop seemed to hold me. The time loop became my prison, and the repeating Tuesday, my tormentor. Every failed attempt felt like a blow, pushing me closer to the brink of despair. The weight of this repeating day, the knowledge of the impending disaster, and the inability to change anything were pushing me to the edge. Exhausted and defeated, I was ready to resign myself to my fate. But then, a glimmer of hope emerged from the monotonous pattern. I noticed subtle variations, minute details that were different each time the loop reset. A different car parked across the street, a stranger's face in the crowd, a news snippet about a missing dog that changed with every loop. At first I dismissed these discrepancies as my mind playing tricks on me, grasping at straws in a sea of repetition. But the more I paid attention, the more convinced I became. These weren't random occurrences, they were clues, pieces of a puzzle I hadn't known I was supposed to solve. The realization hit me like a bolt of lightning. The key to breaking the time loop lay in these subtle variations. If I could decipher their meaning, unlock the pattern, perhaps I could find a way out of this temporal prison. This newfound purpose reignited a spark of hope within me. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as powerless as I thought. Section 6. Deciphering the clues. I started meticulously documenting every anomaly, every deviation from the established loop. My apartment became a web of notes, photographs, and diagrams. Each iteration of Tuesday was no longer just a dreaded repeat, but an opportunity to gather more data, to crack the code of my freedom. Sleep became a luxury I could barely afford. The fear of missing a crucial detail, of overlooking a vital clue, kept me awake. I felt like a detective obsessed with a case, piecing together fragments of information, searching for a connection, a pattern in the chaos. The pressure was immense. Each time the loop reset, I felt the weight of my task. The urgency of finding a solution before despair consumed me again. I knew the lives of those in the hospital fire might depend on my success, adding a layer of responsibility that I could barely bear. Section 7. The moment of truth. After what felt like an eternity, a breakthrough, a pattern emerged from the chaos. The seemingly random variations, the news snippets, the faces in the crowd, they were all connected to the people trapped in the hospital fire. Each detail, however small, hinted at their lives, their routines, their choices. Then it dawned on me. The time loop wasn't a prison, it was a test. I was meant to understand these people, their connections, their regrets. The key to breaking free lay not in preventing the fire but in altering the choices that led them to that fateful Tuesday. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized the magnitude of the task before me. I had to play a delicate hand of fate, nudging these strangers towards different paths, hoping each change would ripple outward, ultimately preventing the disaster. Section 8. Breaking free. The final loop was a blur of calculated risks and carefully orchestrated interventions. I convinced a doctor to take a different route, preventing a car accident that would have landed him in the hospital. I persuaded a young woman to reconcile with her estranged father, stopping her from visiting him at the worst possible time. Each action, a delicate push against the established order, brought me closer to breaking free. As the clock ticked past the fateful hour of the fire, a wave of relief washed over me. The hospital stood unscathed, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. The air, normally thick with smoke and fear, was clear and calm. For the first time in what felt like forever, Tuesday ended without tragedy. The loop was broken. As I woke up to a Wednesday morning, the sunlight felt different, warmer, brighter, full of promise. The world was no longer a broken record, but a symphony of possibilities. I had faced the time loop, unraveling its secrets and emerging victorious. Section 9. Reflections on time and choice. The experience left an indelible mark on my soul. I had stared into the abyss of endless repetition and emerged with a profound appreciation for the fragility of time and the power of choice. Every moment was precious, every decision a brushstroke shaping the canvas of our lives. Though the ordeal was over, the lessons remained. I learned that sometimes the greatest challenges are also opportunities for growth. We may not always understand the reasons behind our struggles, but by embracing the unknown and searching for the hidden patterns, we might find a way to break free from our self-made prisons and create a better tomorrow. The time loop may have been a terrifying ordeal, but it was also a gift. It taught me to cherish every sunrise, to find meaning in the mundane, and to never underestimate the ripple effect of our actions. For within the fabric of time, even the smallest choices can weave a tapestry of profound change.